There are many elements to safe driving, and one of them has to be the tyres on your motor vehicle. Let's face it, the contact between your vehicle and the road starts and finishes with your tyres. So if you don't have good tyres on your vehicle, you are compromising your safety. It doesn't matter how good the technology in your motor vehicle is, if your tyres are no good, it's going to compromise all of those things. You can get a catastrophic failure like this one. And if it's on the front of your vehicle, which is where the steering and the majority of braking's done, it can cause you significant harm. So the grooves in your tyre, we call them the tread. That's designed to get rid of the water off the road and allow your tyre to get down with good contact on the road surface and get grip. And when the tyre is overcome by too much water, or there's not enough tread depth there to actually disperse the water, what happens is we get what's called an aquaplane. So it's very important that we maintain our tyre tread and we look for things like damage that might be along the way. Any sort of bulge in the sidewall, that's going to cause us harm. If the tyre lets go, it's going to create a catastrophic outcome like this tyre here. So we want to be inspecting our tyre every time that we check our tyre pressures, and we should be doing that at least every 2 weeks. So you should be checking your tyres every 2 weeks. Our preference is to do that when it's cold, so you get an accurate reading of what the actual pressure is inside your tyres, and make sure you're pumping them up to the correct standard. How much of a difference does driving on underinflated tyres have on the stopping ability of your vehicle or the turning ability? Let's test it out. So that was a stop from 90 kilometers per hour. And as you can see, our vehicle has pulled up at exactly 30 meters. Now this is just stopping distance. It's not reaction time or anything like that. So it's something that we can measure. So that little maneuver was called an accident avoidance, and we were able to do that because our tyres are pumped up. So we're going to try that now with the tyres let down. So we're going to take some air pressure out of it and see how it goes. So we let that down to 20 psi. That's 25 pounds less than when we tested it before. So both of those tyre pressures are now set to the same. Let's go test it again. Our stopping distance was actually extended by nearly 5 meters at 90 kilometers an hour. So that's a car length just because our tyre pressures were not adequately pumped up to what they were before. So imagine what would happen in the wet. You can add another couple of meters to that at least. So we're talking now the difference between potentially having a serious crash or a near miss. So there you go, we just did the accident avoidance again with our tyres now at 20 psi. So we've dropped them from 45 down to 20 psi, and we've had to avoid perhaps a child running out on the road. What I found was the vehicle just was unresponsive. We got it to get through there, but man, it was tight. So 80 kilometers an hour was the replicated speed in both of those tests for the accident avoidance, and our gap was not sufficient really to get through there without making a very hard turn with the brakes applied. And you could just feel the tyre rolling under the front. There was no real feel to it, and I could tell I was now driving on the sidewall as opposed to the tread, which is what we want to do. As a qualified mechanic, I've seen my share of tyres in bad condition. And what you need to know from a law perspective is across your tread face from one side to the other, you must maintain a tread depth of 1.5 millimeters. But you've also got these wear indicators, which you may or may not be able to see in this video here, but they're little lugs and they're located throughout the tyre in different positions. And what happens is when your tyre starts wearing down to those lugs, it's time to start thinking about new tyres, because you're getting to the point where it's getting close to that 1.5 millimeter tread depth, and that's what you're legally allowed to have. But you want to make sure that the tread is in good condition. Having a good look at your tyres like this occasionally doesn't hurt, or better still, get your tyre professional to do it for you, or your motor mechanic. So a good mate of mine who's a motoring enthusiast shared his tyre experience with me recently. This is his tyre, looks like it's in great condition. You can see the tread has plenty of depth in it. It's not worn at all. However, have a look at what happened here. So simply the tyre was too old, and when he was driving it, it decided to let go on him suddenly. So just because your tread looks like it's in good condition, make sure you're getting these tyres checked for age and also for damage that might be unseen. Well, hopefully our little experiment here today has struck a chord with you. Remember, your tyres are the most important thing that you can check easily yourself on a regular basis. Checking your tyre pressures every 2 weeks is critical. Making sure they're pumped up to the recommended specification is also critical. And remember, if your tyre is damaged at all, and the sidewall or on the tread or anything like that, get it replaced straight away. Don't forget to also check your spare. People often overlook that, and when they need it, it could be flat, it could be not in good condition, and that could be a big problem too. And also, don't forget to get your wheel alignment done and checked on a regular basis too, because wheel alignment is critical to your tyres wearing. I also recommend getting your tyres rotated front to rear every service. It's critical that we take tyres seriously, and it's critical that we place the emphasis on our safety in this regard. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this little segment, and just remember, if your tyres aren't in good condition, you're putting yourself at risk.